Cowpole, all right, mate. Let me know if you can hear me, yeah? Let me know what you think of my cat cup. Hello, mate. Polisari. Can you hear me, mate? Loud and clear. Nice. Nice. All right. Well, first of all, I'm going to bore you with my audio setup. I haven't done that for a bit. First, my audio line is, are you ready? Sonaxis compressor set to a 3:1 compression ratio. Just slightly chipping the top off of the vocal. On auto gain to bring it back up. Very gentle compression there. Sonaxis is a now defunct company, I believe, from Liverpool, right? They used to make excellent plugins. Next is a Fab Filter de-esser to take off the tss, all that shit, all right? Then a Fab Filter Pro Q, which I am cutting off the bottom of my audio at about, fairly high actually, about, where are we? 36, not that high actually, 36 hertz. I'm actually boosting it over the bass so I sound more manly, all right? And then I'm cutting it out around 2,500 hertz to take out the Madonna ring, and then putting it back in around 5,000 to give it that modern crisp sheen. Then finally, I've put another compressor on top, which is really compressing quite hard, mono as well. All of it's mono. So there you go. How interesting is that? Not very. All right. I don't think many people who do live streams and all that sort of shit actually give a shit about their audio, do they? But I think they should, because you can really make a big difference if you have nice audio when you're just talking into a fucking mic, right? It doesn't really matter what you look like, does it? But if the audio is good, it's good. Yeah. Anyway, so there we go. What we're going to talk about today, we are going to talk about number of things. Seatpost, right? So I asked a question on YouTube comments yesterday about Seatposts, and I want to get one bought soon as, all right? So I want to get a nice carbon fiber Seatpost, not a dropper, because I'm not at that stage yet where I think a dropper would be doing me any good, and I don't care about that sort of shit, and it's just too much stuff to cluster my mind with. Yeah, I'm a simple person. I like to have a simple bike. You know what I mean? Yeah. What's the Burzum principle of audio capturing? Run it fucking red, let me guess. Slam it red and shout into the mic. Yeah. All right. So I want to get a carbon fiber light seat post for my mountain bike. I was thinking about getting the same one I have always had for my road bike, which is a Dedda Super Leggera, which I really liked over the years. Super Leggera seat post is good. It's got a good fastenings at the top. Pretty cool way. You have to wind in one bit by hand, then you tighten up the other side with an Allen key. Black metal jar, I don't get that then, do I, mate? I'll have to educate myself in that, unless you've posted it in the Discord and I've just not had time to fucking listen to it, like most of the stuff. But I will get around to that one day. So I think about getting a Dedda seat post, but then that means that then I was starting to look at the Dedda carbon bars as well, because I always like to match my seat post to my bars for some reason. It's the same principle. It's the same principle I use with hi-fi separates. I like to match the CD player with the amp, because I think that a lot of the companies have worked very hard on integrating things very well, and then people just join them together willy-nilly with other brands claiming they're going to work, but they're not. I used to have a Marantz Ken Ishiwata amp and a Marantz Ken Ishiwata CD player, man. It was fucking good. So anyway, getting back to it, right? Dedda doesn't really do a appropriate handlebar for cross-country that you can use with a different brand of stem. So I've always liked to have same seat post, same bars, different company stem, right? It's just how I roll, man. So I wanted to get a Dedda seat post, Dedda bars, and then a stem, right? So yeah, all right, Altoona man. So that's another thing, isn't it? I've never bought a blank carbon fiber thing from Alibaba that sits in a part of my bike where if it snaps, I will be fucked. I've never done that. I've had some stuff like carbon water bottle cages and stuff, and they've lasted pretty well, but I've never risked it with a unbranded seat post or bars or anything like that. So if any of you lot could tell me if you have any experience of that shit, and maybe even link me to some good sellers or anything on Alibaba, AliExpress, excuse me, I've had loads of tea, that'd be fucking useful. I'll have a look at that, all right? Because I'd be well happy to get a blank one at the front and a blank one at the back and just polish the fuck out of it till it's well goth. Yeah, I'll be up for that. All right. So I was toying with the Deader seat post, but I want to know what your ideas for other seat posts are. Not a dropper for anyone who's just joining, so I can't be fucked with that. And then we're going to talk about stems as well. I've got my eye on a few different stems, which I'll talk about later. The two stems I'm narrowing it down to are actually quite different to each other. And I also wanted to know if any of you got an experience of the... Yeah, you chipped your chainstay because of an Alibaba carbon chain catcher. Yeah, well, there you go, mate. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, if any of you know about fitting for cross-country mountain biking, in terms of how far down the stem can go and what the drop is between the seat and the bars compared to road. So on a road bike, my drop was never huge, but on my road bike, my drop was about 90 mil. I think I measured it the other day. 80 or 90 mil. 90 mil drop on road. That's from the seat to the top of the hoods, right? Not in the drops, right? All right, Aaron. All right, man. And I wonder, is that when you fit a cross country bike, is it the done thing to match what your drop would be on a road bike, or is it less because of the angle of the head tube and all that, or is it more? I don't think it'd be more, would it? But how do people doing these really? If anyone's been riding road a lot and then has gone to cross country racing, how are you applying your road fit to your cross country bike? That's a question I've had that I've been trying to figure out over the last 2 days before I press buy on a stem. Right, because I need to decide whether I need a 6 degree one, which seems common, so -6 degree, or -17, which seems common, or something really mental. I don't think I do, to be honest. So probably it'll be either a -6 or -8, something like that, or a -17, which is quite a big steep drop, a bit shorter, or maybe a bit longer. Who fucking knows? You tell me, right? Because I don't really know what I'm talking about at the moment in terms of that. And then I wanted to know also about bar width. The bars I've got with my Scott Spark RC at the moment, they came with 740 mil bars. But I did the way that you fit any bike, right? Ultimately, is when you just close your eyes and put your hands out like that where they should be, and you just ride around and just sort of close your eyes and feel where they should be. Then open your eyes and see, okay, I'm there, right? And then think, right, well, okay, what's that width? Turns out that maybe because I've been riding road for so long, and that width was about 42, 44, whatever. Mountain bike, I'm about there. So my mountain bike cross country and is down to about 710. 720. 720 width. Sorry, my bars, the bars that it came with, what the fucking bar? The bars it came with were 740. Right, I think, and I've taken off a centimetre on each side, so they're now 720. All right, so my bars are 720 at the moment, right, and they've got a slight sweep back and I think that's a very slight uprise, which I think I actually need to twist over forward like that because I've slammed the stem. All right, Altoona, you're saying usually the same drop and less reach. Right, okay, because the reach on my mountain bike is quite similar to my road at the moment. So if I get a stem that brings it lower, so I've worked out that if I get a minus 17 degree stem, that will drop me a further, roughly speaking, about we'll talk about what Dita's comment in a minute. She made me watch something today which was fucking absolute shit. Anyway, if I get a minus 17 stem, that'll drop the drop or increase the drop by about 20 mil, right? So I measured my drop on my mountain bike at the moment, and it's quite not much. It's only about 30 mil, right? So if I drop, I don't know how I'm going to get. I don't know how I would get a 90 mil drop on that bike. I'd have to have the fucking stem. I'd have to have the handlebars bolted to the top of the forks to get that. Right? I don't think I'm going to manage that. So I don't think that will be the same. I could. I'm rambling here, aren't I? Clearly, like a mental. All right, we'll work out the maths later. If what you're saying is true, Arjuna, then I have to go back to the drawing board. All right. Anyway, what we're going to do, while you lot decide what seat post I should buy, I'm going to talk about you can have the same reach and less drop. Yeah, right. So I can have the same reach and less drop. Right. But I still think I need to drop it a little bit more, or I could drop it a little bit more for optimum. Still, it feels pretty good as it is, though. Maybe, I don't know, whatever. Maybe I don't want to give myself fucking spina bifida over the next 10 years of riding it off-road. Anyway, yeah, it'll be all right. The normal position is slightly more upright, so less drop or less reach. All right. Okay, I'll have to get my tape measure out, which will scare my cat to shit, right? Socks, the cat, for some reason, he is fine to go out and decapitate rabbits, people's pet rabbits, right? Murder. But when you open a tape measure and just go, shh, he fucking shits himself. I think he thinks it's a snake. If you just rattle that thing near him, he thinks it's probably a rattlesnake. And I've never seen an animal shit itself quite as much as when I get my tape measure out near my cat. The other cat, Darcy, don't care. She's fine with it. She's like, whatever. Yeah, measure me, man. I'm like, ugh. But Socks, you get a tape measure out, he fucking shits himself. Absolutely shits himself. Anyway, let's talk about what Dita Carlita's talking about, right? Yesterday I watched Twilight, the film Twilight, right? Which was really bad. So the obvious thing to do, that was a Saturday. So the obvious thing to be doing then after that, the normal person would just never watch any more Twilights again because they're so crap, right? But what she decided to do was to subject me to Twilight 2, The New Moon. I think that's what it's called. Or the Twilight Saga : New Moon, right? Or what it should be called, the Twilight Saga : all right? Rubbish. Absolutely shit. Now, if any of you know about Twilight, Twilight is a girl's wanking fantasy written by a woman who is seemingly too old to be writing teenage girl wanking fantasies, but it seems like she managed to churn it out, right? When I say churn it out, I don't mean like churn it out. I mean, she managed to write the story, okay? And when I say write the story, it's not very good. Anyone could have written it. A teenage girl could have written it. And it would have been all right if a teenage girl had written it and produced it. It would have been good. But this was a woman in her mid-30s doing this, so it was quite worrying, really. So this girl called Stephanie Meyer wrote it. She's got to have something wrong with her. The story makes no sense. The acting direction is insane, right? Each actor looks like every line is delivered as if they're holding in. They're either holding in a really grinding, like gripingly awful, ugly diarrhea shit for ages, or they've come on set. Stephanie Meyer's been telling them to say their lines, but as they're saying their lines, they've got a family members come in just before and whispered some devastating news to them as they're delivering their lines, and they're having to deliver their lines in the moment, but deal with the weight, the horror of the knowledge that they've just been given, right? and there's a twisting. It's like their soul's being twisted around inside as they're delivering these lines, and they keep on sort of like looking at that. Do you know what it reminds me of? I once saw, speaking of other things that are really shit, you know Harry Potter, right? You know Harry Potter's fucking rubbish. Harry Potter's got a bloke in it called Daniel Radcliffe, yeah? Turns out, I really took the piss out of him once, then I felt quite bad, because it turns out he's got something wrong with him, where when he talks, it seems like he's having an anxiety disorder, or he's out of breath, or something all the time, or he's high. When I saw it, he did this interview with, what's the fucking name who wrote it? That bird. Rowling, J.K. Rowling. He did it. They were talking to each other about Harry Potter after the event, and it was very sort of like self-congratulatory, which was quite cringe. But the way he was talking, I thought he was high. It seems like he was struggling with the come up on a really tough Mitzi, right? While he was doing the interview, she was fine, J.K. Rowling, and seemed to have taken it in a stride. Like she knew he was just constantly doing drugs. But it turns out he actually has something wrong with him, right? So I felt bad for taking the piss then. But the actors on Twilight seem to be doing the same thing. So whether Stephanie Meyer, so this was made in 2008, probably what had happened is Stephanie Meyer thought, fuck me, right, look at this. I've got a chance here to be the next J.K. Rowling. I'm going to watch everything that J.K. Rowling's done, including this Daniel Radcliffe interview on YouTube, where she watched it, where it looked like Daniel Radcliffe was really badly coming up in the corner of a club and trying to sort of talk his way normal through it, right? She watched that and thought, God, that's really good. If J.K. Rowling likes people who do that, I'm going to get all my actors to act as if they're fucked, right? Or their nervous system's being tweaked by some sort of serotonin enhancing like European chemical. And then she directed, what's his name? Fucking The Lighthouse seagull legend, and his turns out ex-girlfriend, who is now a lesbian, who's not a lesbian, to talk like Daniel Radcliffe in that interview. More for her, because actually what happened there is it ended up with me now in 2021 calling her out on it because she was talking absolute shit with her direction and she got it wrong. So that was the first thing that was really weird about it. Other thing that I thought was shit was there's this other character in it called Jacob, right, who's the alternative love interest to try and throw seagull murderer guy off the scent. He was in the first one and he looked like your regular sort of, what do we call it? Slightly sort of, I don't even want to say well built, but like sort of slightly broad young man, right? Not like a was it an endomorph? Is it ectomorph? Something like that, right? In the first one. Turn up in the second one, looking like he'd been on the fucking roids, like really hard. He'd been stacking Tren, Dialabol, whatever they call it, all that fucking M1T tablets. He'd been doing all of it really, really hard for ages, right? But he still had like a baby face. You know, like young lads who get on roids early. They seem to have the sort of the veiny, gigantic, muscular body of a roidhead, but they still have that baby face and podgy forearms as well. Very weird. Like there was no work hardening over the years that had given him this physique. It was just a chemical reaction in his body. Anyway, I Googled him afterwards. It turns out he put on about 30 kilograms in pure muscle between the films. 20 or 30 kilograms in pure muscle, and he's still claiming he wasn't on roids. Yeah, whatever, mate. He was on roids, definitely. Right. That was one thing that was weird, annoyed me about that film. Yeah, what else was shit? I mean, it was all shit. It was better than the first one though, but it was still shit. So if anyone's seen that, let me know what you think. All right, Sabamax, how's it going, man? I'll get back to your question about where to get. Well, I'll tell you, we can plot about where to get Shimano in Australia and where to get cheap bike bits in Australia. We could probably come up with some dodgy import scheme and we could work it out. We'll get Di2 rear mix shoved up people's asses and brought in or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. So that was Twilight New Moon. There was a lot more in it that was really crap. But the other thing as well, too long. Too long. She could have crammed all that in. There was no real story either. She could have crammed all of that in to 40 minutes. And it wasn't as good as just an episode of something like Skins. It wasn't as good as that, right? It was rubbish. Yet, for some reason, really fucking popular. The world's fucked, isn't it? The world's fucked. So that was Twilight anyway. Yeah. So anyway, let's 2021 now begins. Yeah. Oils. How's it going, mate? You all right? Trying to keep hydrated this time. I got dehydrated yesterday. I had to have a mass drink of water and 500 bits of bread. I think I'm addicted to bread. Can you get addicted to bread? Is that a thing? If it is, let me know. All right. Skins was good. I don't think it was. Skins was cringe, mate. Johnny, all right. Skins was cringe because I went to school in England, right? You get into it. I went to school in England, right? And that Skins is just like a modern version of a sort of modern. It was a modern version of Grange Hill. It was like Grange Hill done by RADA kids who were trying to be all edgy, right? I think This Is England was way better than Skins was, and had the same sort of like, and did the same thing, didn't it? Skins wanted to be This Is England, but This Is England fucking blew it out of the water. Yeah. The thing with those dramas about school kids is that they're way too mature in those programs, in what they do and the way they talk and the way that they self-analyze and all that sort of thing, and they look at things and they understand their position in the world way fucking too well in those dramas. They're not realistic. Yeah, they should be just realistic. Yeah. All right, George. So you are okay. So Cowpole intro, you will be 29 years old. Wow. 29 years old. Young boy. You've got all your life ahead of you, mate. Yep. You've got all your 30s. You've got all your 30s to go through. In-betweeners is more like my childhood year. Yeah. In-betweeners is good, mate. In-betweeners is way better than Skins. In-betweeners is amazing. I've watched In-betweeners a lot of fucking times, and I've laughed every single time. It's absolutely brilliant. Cowpole intro, you're 28. So all of the 20 and I was 28 years old when I did that. Jokes can get done by you, can't you? Yeah. Right, George. That brings me on to the next topic. Dita Carlita seems to think, and I think she's wrong about this, so please correct me. We were standing in the shower today having this conversation together, all right? I don't think any of you have got girlfriends, right? I think that none of you have got girlfriends. I think that you're so dedicated to the dark arts and the shred that you don't have time for messing around with silly little girls. She seems to think that you all have got girlfriends, right? Who's more right? Is it me or her? I think that you lot are not. You don't have time for that kind of nonsense. You're too busy doing mad shit. All right. George is saying it's the early stages. Yeah. You're too legendary. You lot are too legendary. All right. Johnny Moore's married to 2 kids. Well, that's two crimes, isn't it? That is, that's underage. That's like, you can't marry anyone under the age of 18, and you can't fucking marry 2 of them at the same time, mate, even if they're over 18. So I think that you need to turn yourself into the nearest police station, mate, and admit your crimes. Dreadful behaviour. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of pedos, right? Let's just get this clear. Johnny Moore is not a paedophile. All right, he's not a paedophile. I wasn't saying that. All right, but speaking of pedos, though, all right, turns out Australia's fucking full of them. Who would have guessed it? Australia is up there with the world's best. All right. Who would have thought it? I foolishly thought that England was probably the best pedo land in the world. Wrong. I was wrong. I think Jimmy Savile really put us on the map, didn't he? Jimmy Savile is very hard to beat, but he's a celebrity pedo. He's not an everyday pedo, is he? I think that apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Yeah, I think all the pedos in Australia probably just get all their advice, and they look up to the UK, don't they? Yeah. Yeah, speaking of pedos, I was grooming a young boy, wasn't I? It turned out as well back in the day. Chris Hansen. He'll be over age now though, so I'm not really interested in him anymore. Yeah. Screw Christianity, go traditional marriage, many wives. Do you know how fucking annoying that would be? Do you know how annoying it would be having more than one long-term girlfriend? Right? Do you know how annoying that would be? In being involved with anyone, more than one person at once, it's a recipe for disaster. And fucking just the effort and the fucking money, right? And the time. Why? Just why? More wives is definitely not an upgrade, mate. It's not, right? It's not. It's definitely not an option for chads. No, man. Because why? No. Why would you want that? You don't want that. You want. It's just too much effort, right? Imagine double the nagging, double the requests to. So what you'd be like, right? Okay, I've got these 2 houses, right? Got one bird there. Dita found this group on Facebook, which is fucking funny. N+1, N-1, mate. Fuck that. Or just N, right? You got 2 houses, one house there, right? This house, she there. You go in there. She's like, "Oh, how are you? You all right? Yeah, good. Sorry to say this, but can you not? When you make a cup of tea, can you put the tea bag in the bin? Yeah, all right, dear. Yeah, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, all right. Sit down. Oh, don't sit there. I've just vacuumed out there. Okay, cool. Cat comes over. No, did you just let the cat in? Oh, fuck. I wanted them to stay out there to have their dinner out there because now you've let him in. I've got to put the other one in the bedroom now, and she's scared now. Right. Imagine that. Right. Imagine that times 2. Why would you want that? You wouldn't. Right. Cowpole, have you been suffering a bit, mate? All right. Not to make light of it, but come on. You've been suffering at the hands of a bird. What's been going on there, man? Tell us all. Yeah. My advice, if you're after an Asian, go for a Japanese. I think if you're after anything Asian, go with Japanese. Really. Generally. Because they seem to, I don't know. Although Chinese stuff is pretty good now. Yeah. Pretty good. But I think my advice still stands. If you want to go for like an onshore Asian woman, go for a Japanese one. Right? Because at least they'll be like the most similar to you, probably. Yeah. Dio, oh, Dio thinks you're kind of attractive. Then he's slightly envious of me. Or she. Dio, are you a man or a woman? You can never tell these days. All right. Slightly envious. There you go. You thinks you're kind of attractive. Dita thinks she's hit the wall. She's hit the wall. All right. You know, she's hit the wall. She's a shadow of her former self, to be honest. Yeah. 3 years away. Well, all right, man. Yeah, it does happen. You're 28 though, right? I wouldn't worry too much about that, mate. If you are recognizing this now and you're 28 years old, dude, you got you got loads of years left, mate. You got loads in you left. Don't worry about that. As long as you, I mean, you may have. Even if you have, right? Even if she's taken every fucking penny you've got, all right. Even if she's taken every penny you've got, left you with nothing, left you heartbroken, left you on the floor, mate, all that shit, you're only fucking 28. You can start again. You can start again. And if you want to find a new bird, mate, there's fucking loads out there, boy. All right? There's loads out there, mate. And there's, you know, and if you do anything like, you know, keep yourself slightly fit or anything like that, there's loads out there, mate. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I know it's easy for me to say, innit? Because I know that, you know, you can get quite upset about these things. Not you, but people and everyone. We can, can't we? But don't worry about it, man. There's fucking millions out there. Millions. Or marry your bike, right? Or just the AI, right? The AI. Just get a robot. Get a robot bird. Sorry for this scratching noise. I was moving some money around. Yeah. Just get an AI girlfriend, and she'll never leave you and never cheat on you and all that. But yeah, don't worry about it, man. It's all good. Yeah. How's the BTEC Rafa brand going? What do you mean? Like the starting up a clothing company? Yeah. Well, you know, I talked myself. I think I talked myself out of doing that as I was making that video back in the day. As I was making that video, I started to sort of believe my own hype. I was watching it going, hang on, is this actually a good idea? And then I got to the end and I concluded it, and then I listened to myself talking and went, no, it's a shit idea. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, MM's right. It's all a learning experience, mate. Fleshlight is cheaper. Yeah. Dita was saying that today. She was saying that, you know, she doesn't know why people have relationships anymore. Everyone should just get plaggy wannies, plastic fannies. All right. Yeah. Dio, all right. So you feel good? You feel all right? You've just done an 80-mile ride. 80 miles, 140k, is it? Something like that? Yeah. Altoona. You are living you're the embodiment. You're the embodiment of the impossible dream. You're 23. Yep, you're a virgin. You've got 5.5 watts per kilo and no need for any girl at the moment. That's the impossible dream, mate. You continue that, all right? You continue that, yeah? And then some little pocket rocket will come along and whisk you off your carbon wheels, mate. You won't know what's hit you. And you'll wake up in 10 years' time, 15 kilograms fatter, and still posting on forums about how you were great back in the day. Yeah. Know what I mean? Anyway, let's get into stems, all right? I'll tell you the two stems that I've been considering. Can't talk today, can I? I will tell you the two stems which I have been considering purchasing, and you can tell me what you think. Now, one person on my Discord kindly the other day posted a stiffness to weight ratio chart of some popular stems, right? One of them was really shit. There were two on there which I was considering, right? One of them was the stem that I already have, which I already have two of actually. It's the Extralight Hyper Stem, and I was considering this for my cross-country bike, but I wanted to know what you think about that decision, because yes, while it's very light and while it does have a fantastic stiffness to weight ratio, its overall stiffness though is still not particularly competitive or maybe stiff enough for the rigors of cross-country bike thrashing about, right? So while it does have a great stiffness to weight ratio, its weight is so low that I think that overall it might not actually be stiff enough. So I've been considering that stem. I've also been considering a Pro made by Shimano stem, cross country. I think it's called the Tharsis, possibly. One of them. All right. They look pretty nifty. They are getting on for double the weight of an extra light. So the extra light is about 80 grams and the Tharsis is about 150. Tharsis is less money, considerably less money. Made by Shimano, so you know it's going to fucking last. It's Shimano's metalwork, right? It's got a built-in, what do you call it? Headset compression system. I think you clamp the stem on and then you open it down into the headset and it compresses it like that, and the top area is fixed. So yeah, I was wondering what you think of those two options. I'm a bit funny when it comes to stems because they'll love my torque wrench will love that fucking hyper stem. I'm a bit funny when it comes to stems because although a lot of them are pretty good in terms of like weight and stiffness and all that sort of thing, most stems look shit, right? And I like a stem to look fancy and nice and like it's really like machined and stuff, right? And really cool. Like the extra light one's great. I like that a lot. The Pro one looks very sort of industrial and very cool in that sense. Like it looks like its beauty comes from its clear, complex design functionality. Whereas a lot of these ones which are, you know, good, right? Like the one I've got at the moment is this Syncross stem. They just look like generic. A lot of them just look generic and bland and just sort of like shit, right? So as well as being really nice, I want it to actually look good. And I want the shape to look good as well. So the extra light one looks good and the Pro one looks good to me. Anything else, you know, let me know. Yeah. Uno stems. Is that made by Calloy or is that something different? All right. Red Trooper, if that's an amusing reference to his comment about having a Virgin 5.5 watts per kilo and 23, fine. But if you're attempting to dox anyone on here, mate, well, we'll have to get rid of you. Let's just assume you're trying to be amusing, but please do let me know because we don't dox each other on here. All right. If I don't know who Tyler Brennan is, then fucking I'm sorry. All right. Uno equals Calloy. All right. So those, and in fact, I'm gonna have a look at one on the screen right now. Uno Calloy. If it looks shit, I'm not going to buy it. It looks... just looks like a fucking stem, doesn't it? Looks alright. Looks alright. Because I just... Maybe on mountain bike it's less of a problem, but on road you spend a lot of time staring at your stem. So you want it to look cool, right? That Uno's all right. Yeah. Uno, yeah, all right. I'm assuming they're pretty light and you can get them in a load of different lengths and angles and all that shit. It's a regular boring lightweight stick. Yeah. That, I might just have to get that fucking, get that Pro one, mate. Yeah, I'll work out what angle I need as well based on the reach and all that sort of thing. I did have a look at the pros bikes today to see what they were doing with their stems. A lot of guys on the frame I've got and other frames of the same era, they have their stem really angled over like that, really down on the head tube and very short. So that would be like a minus 17 degree, I think. Yeah. Right, recar, yeah. That's a good point. So a lot of the weight comes from the preload adjustment. Yeah. If only they could just make one without that. I mean, could I just hacksaw it off? Maybe. If they could just make one without that bloody thing in it and I could just use my own star nut that I've got in the top of the thing. Although... aggregate weight though, mate, do you think that if I took the star nut out, if I had that Pro one, right? If I took the star nut out and then didn't have any sort of compression system at the top, any screw down compression system, that weight there would come off of the weight of the stem. So aggregate weight might be a bit slightly less overall. Yeah, all right. So they're designed to have the DR2 battery in the stereo, yeah. Which I ain't gonna have, am I? Because I'm having one of them fucking SRAM, going for the SRAM for a bit, mate. Yeah. All right. That's a good point you make there, mate. I might have to bin that idea then. Yeah. All right. Well pointed out, Recar. Nice one. All right. Back to the fucking drawing board then. Never mind. Do you reckon? Yeah, there's another one then. Do you reckon I could get away with a road stem by Pro on a cross country bike? Right? Because they do it. Because Pro does another one, and let me have a look at it. It's the what the fuck is it called? They did the Vibe, right? The Pro Vibe. Pro's got its own website now. That's weird. Yes, all right. So everyone's saying yeah. All right. So I could just get any of the Pro stems, couldn't I? That Pro Vibe looks all right. Pro Vibes. This is like watching someone just tell you about their fucking holiday, innit? Pro Vibe comes in 80 mil. The 80 mil one would be 120 grams. It looks all right. It's got a fancy front end to it. Does it look slick from the top? Does it look nice from the rear? Does it look nice from the front? Does it look nice when you look down on it from above? Yeah, that Pro Vibe looks fucking sick, man. I might get that. All right. Which one should I? Well, is there a carbon one or an alloy one, mate? The one I'm looking at on their website is the alloy one. If they do a carbon one, what's that about then? If they do a carbon, Pro Vibe carbon, that Pro Vibe carbon is slightly too penisy looking for me. It looks a bit too like an, although does it? Does it? From the front, it looks a bit like a knob. But could that actually be rad? Fully carbon. Well, hang on a minute, look. Right? Here, this Pro Vibe carbon stem is 120 grams, it says. Right? The Pro Vibe alloy one is 120 grams. So, I mean, why would I get the carbon one? That's more likely to just get fucked, isn't it? No? Anyway. All right. Las Rash Tech. Carbon stem and bars useless. All right. Let's get into this then. Some more advice, please, lads. Time to leave the bike in the spare room. Look at it. Yeah. All right. I'm happy to get an alloy stem, right? I'm happy to get an alloy stem. I'm not really bothered about a carbon stem. What's the deal with carbon bars on XC? I know that obviously all the pros love fucking carbon bars, but for like, actually, what is the deal with them? Because on road, I've had carbon bars for years. I've never had any problems. Any massive fucking crash, I've had to replace my bars, obviously, right? But generally, they've been pretty fucking good. They've never like given way or anything, and nothing's like that. But for cross-country riding, and in terms of like the weight difference, because the thing is, if I'm having, so on a road bar bent all the way around like that is actually quite a length of material, right? But a straight tube made of metal is probably not going to be a great deal heavier, is it, than carbon? And if it's the difference between me, I mean, because I've been fucking ragging that bike down some pretty mad shit, right, already. And I'd hate for a carbon bar to just go like that and me lose my fucking face big time. That'd be bad. So I'm wondering what the go would be on what everyone does as well on mountain bike, if there are carbon bar. Plus, if to make carbon bars strong enough for cross country hammer or even downhill hammer or whatever, if they're using that much carbon and it comes to be the same weight as a bit of metal, then fucking I'm just going to get a metal one, right? So what is the deal? I know that Syncross do this mad integrated stem and bars thing called a Fraser, which is I was looking at, but I don't know. I think I prefer to have a separate bar and stem because then I can always just like adjust it how I want it, right? Yeah. What's the Pro PLT stemming? Let's have a look at that then. I'll tell you what, right? This is handy advice, everyone. Thank you. Pro PLT. Can't even see it on their website. Oh yeah, I can. Pro LT, Pro PLT. Oh fuck! Are you serious, mate? Recar, right? If that technically, I'm sure that's phenomenal, but looking at that makes me want to vomit. Sorry, dude. I want it to look snaz as fuck. Should I just get a Pro Vibe Sprint? Should I just put a Pro Vibe Sprint on my? How much do they weigh? Fucking like a ton from 195 grams. Should I just get a Pro Vibe Sprint and just be done with it? Yeah. Yeah, I know that both can fail catastrophically. Oils uses an old length of plumbing tube, right? And do you know what else he does, right? He carries an oxy torch on his back and he has it on constantly, just dangling like that, right? Blowtorch. And then every time he inevitably fucking just slams his rigid bike with no tyres, just fucking square. He's got 4 lengths of railway sleeper that he's just welded together like that. That's his wheels. 4, just there's not even round, just 4. And he goes, boom, he pedals through that. Every time his bars start to snap, when he's doing like a vertical downhill, he'll get his torch out and blow torch it back before he gets to the next corner. All right, that's how fucking hard he is. He's a nutter. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, if carbon fiber and aluminium are alloy are gonna fucking break catastrophically, then I might as well just get the lightest one, and just go YOLO. Yeah. Can I get it woven by Rafa? Canyon Engineering. Yeah. Should I get Canyon to make it for me? Get Canyon to make me everything. Yeah. That's bad, isn't it? That. And then the excuse mill and the fans who come out. Wow. All right. The fact is, mate, you made something that's fucking shit. They are. Yeah. I think I might just get one of them Pro Vibes. It's got the V on the front as well. V for Vampire. Cool, man. I might get that. That's cool. I like the way it's like dark and it's got just a polished metal bit on the front. That's cool. I don't know if they do it in the right. I don't know if they do it like super steep though. Still got to work that out. If they do, yeah, cool. All right. Next up then, what bars shall I get? Recommend me some bars, yeah? Recommend me some bars. Oh. Someone's sliding a badminton racket under the door. Yeah, we should. I'll tell you about while you tell me what bars to get. I'll tell you about what I did this morning. I got into badminton. I got 2 badminton rackets made by Kawasaki, right, in Japan. Brought them over here years ago. We decide. Dita woke up this morning. She does this. She talks in her sleep, right? So I thought she was talking in her sleep, but she actually wasn't. She was just awake. She woke up and went, "Do you know we should go and play tennis?" All right. Now that. It's so random that it could be one of her things that she says in her sleep, but it turns out it wasn't, right? It was actually a genuine thing she wanted to do. We then Googled tennis courts in the local area. It turns out there's one near us that's fucking $10 per session, per hour. $10 an hour to play tennis, right? And then looked online for tennis rackets, fucking loads of money. Turns out I already had some badminton rackets. So badminton and tennis is basically the same thing, right? So I then drove out and got some shuttlecocks, mate, made by the Yonex company of Japan, who also make a nice road frame, which I nearly bought back in the day. $11 for 3. So that's less than $4 each. And we went and played badminton in the fucking wind, which turns out is impossible. But we now have decided that we're legends at badminton. So I made a badminton court in the garage by just putting a bit of tape across the floor. And we were, I don't want to say shit, but we were pretty shit at it. But I think within probably the next year, you're going to see some sort of Olympic level mixed team badminton coming out of this house. Yeah. Schmolk. I don't know. The thing with Schmolk, though, they're really expensive, and I've always found them slightly cringe. That's probably just my issue. But back in the day, I used to know this guy who used to say, who was the dealer from in Japan, or he had some of them in Japan, and he was an absolute fucking knob. So I always associate him with him. I think it turns out I'm quite an emotional person when it comes to the shit I buy, right? Yeah. Yeah. But if they're good and if they're not going to snap and if they've got guarantees and that, yeah. Oh, all right. So stem, probably going to get a Pro one. Bars, you haven't told me what one to buy yet. Seat post, shall I just get that fucking deader one and be done with it? Because that's pretty. That one there has stood the test of time on my road bike. Obviously, it's going to get chipped up to fuck on a mountain bike, and I'll cry. But yeah, all that. All right. So that's that, yeah. All right. What else was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about something funny. I'll have to save it. I'll have to save it for another night. All right. So I'm going to post up another question in YouTube chat. If you lot could be good. Oh, who's this? Alexandra Sarik. All right. Hello, mate. You said you stumbled upon my channel and recently and discovered so much for yourself. Great moves. Keep it up. Well, I appreciate that. That's very nice. I appreciate that. That's cool, man. Stay with us, and I'm sure you'll make some mates here, or you'll enjoy the ride, and you can join the cult, mate. Come and join us. You're always welcome, mate. Yeah, Rika, no dropper. No, mate, no. I'm just not into it. Like, just drop it. It's just too complicated, mate. It's just more faff. I've got a shifter, a thing to lock out my shock, and I have another thing to do my dropper. No, man. It's too much. I've had a go on a dropper before, but I just couldn't get my head around it. I think I'm all right with just like the seat whacking me up the arse all the time and hitting me in the gunt, taking a fucking hard gunt hit. Yeah. Oil's the same, mate. Same. Dropper is droppers for the a dropper would be the sort of thing that someone on skins would have, wouldn't it? Yeah. It's too much to think about. I've just got rid of a front mech. All right. I just don't have a front mech anymore. Why do I want to fucking add more complication? No thanks. No thanks. Yeah. Finishing kit. Lash Rush Tech says, would you not go same brand for your finishing kit? I want to. Right at the start of this live stream, I said I wanted to. I would love to go the same brand for all of my finishing kit. Happy to, well, in terms of bars and seat post, I'd love to have the same brand seat post and bars. So if you can, or if anyone can recommend a same brand seat post and bars that I can buy for cross country that's going to be light as fuck and cool, right? I'll go for it, right? But I haven't been able to really find anything yet. But yeah, do let me know, mate. Do let me know if you've got anything in mind, and I'll happily entertain the idea. I'm happy to have a different brand stem than the bars and seat post. But if I can get the bars and seat post the same, that'd be snaz. Yeah, man. All right. Okay. So we're coming up to an hour now, and I'm fucking got to work tomorrow, innit? So yeah. Oh, all right, Rika. You know, you can be like that. Yeah. No, but you know what I mean, though. I just can't be fucking bothered with the dropper. I'll probably end up getting one at some point, right? But I don't know, man. I'm just not into it. And on that dull fucking bombshell, I'm going to end it for tonight, mate, because I've got to do stuff. But yeah, thank you, everyone. I will be back tomorrow, and I'll post some questions in YouTube for you to answer so that I can then buy some stuff. Didn't end up buying anything live on the live stream tonight. But I probably will do tomorrow. All right. So thank you, and I will see you later. Goodbye.